right, so we have a very exciting one today. Obviously, the Villages is extremely popular. And we have Debbie on to help us walk through this one. There's a ton to cover, so we'll try to give you as much valuable information as possible. Thank you for coming on, Debbie.
Good morning, Debbie.
Good morning.
Beautiful. So we like to start with just kind of an overview of the area, really give people a sense of where it's located in Florida. A lot of times we'll have people come through and they kind of know they want Central Florida, but I don't think they understand the relativity of like where the Village is compared to Orlando, stuff like that. So if we could pull up a map and look at sort of the Villages, can you talk about how much it covers too? The Villages is huge.
Oh my gosh. So if we took that little marker and we went it's going to be way up north from that. Visit, yeah. Like right about there. Where are you? The Villages is north of Eustis, more closer to 75. So it's like right in here. Yeah.
That's a newer section, I think, that they're developing, and even on the way down to Leesburg. I mean, I think it's got, doesn't it have three counties, Debbie?
Yeah, we go from 42 all the way up to 42, which is on the border of Summerfield. And then we go clear over to 441 and 301. And then we go all the way down to 44. Then we go south of 44. And we go all the way down to 470. That's the next east-west line.
Okay.
So that's how big it is.
Wow.
And it's the new stuff is really starting to get close to the turnpike there, correct?
It is right along the turnpike. If you got on the turnpike at Leesburg, there's a Leesburg entrance just south of Leesburg off of 27, and you hopped on there. It wouldn't be but a 5-minute drive, and you would start seeing the building that they're doing on each side of the turnpike. It is amazing, and it is mind-boggling.
Yeah.
They've got all kinds of amenities planned that are absolutely wonderful, just wonderful. They are planners. They really are. And they listen to the people. And so as the Villages has evolved, they have changed in so many ways. Just providing more and more things that the new people that are retiring are looking to do for fun. Because it's all about having fun here at the Villages. That's why people move here. If you're thinking that it's a retirement area where you're going to see people on, with walkers and canes, so not the case. These are healthy people. These are healthy, more healthy than you've ever seen before in your life. They're active. They're up before the sun is up, and they're in bed pretty much when the sun goes down.
Yeah. So what? And then the Villages within itself kind of contains everything. What are the people always want to know about the hospitals? What are the major hospitals, or where can people go for that?
The Villages actually has its own hospital, and they also have a new emergency center. It is, it's like if you took an emergency room out of a hospital and plopped it down on a piece of land. That's what it's like. It is self-contained. It's located on 44, just on the other side, across from Brownwood. So it's called the UF Emergency Center, and that is directly correlated with the hospital in Leesburg, the Leesburg Hospital, and the Villages Hospital. So I can honestly say that I have had experience with the hospital. My mom had her both knees replaced there. She had a hip replacement. She recently had a heart attack where she had a blockage. My stepfather was in there, and my grandmother was in there, and they received wonderful care.
Can I ask you this, Debbie? And I think one of the things that people love about the Villages is you can get everywhere on golf cart. This is a silly question. Can you get to those hospitals by your golf cart?
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yes, you can. You can go. The only place you can't go Let's see, where couldn't you go? There is a Sam's Club. I couldn't get to Sam's Club in my golf cart, but I can get to pretty much everything else if I wanted to go grocery shopping. I have a special bag that fits on the back of my golf cart where the golf clubs come off and the shopping bag goes on. It's really unique. I can get to anywhere. I can go to a movie. I can go out to eat. I can go to the pools. I can go golfing. I can go to any one of the rec centers. No matter where you live in the villages, you can use any one of the rec centers. You just show your village's ID. We call it a green card because it's your picture, literally this much of you, on a green card.
Nice. Okay, so one.
So when you move here, you get your green card.
Nice. Okay, so and we'll talk about, a lot of people always want to know the financials and stuff like that. We'll get into that. And before we get into that, one last thing on the map. Can we try to point out the 3 different squares?
Oh yeah, we have 3 town squares. And then we also have what's called Edna's on the Green, which is kind of fun too. So let's start out at Spanish Springs. It's going to be in the more northern region, and it's close to 441 in Lady Lake.
Do you see it, Justin?
Yeah, this could be hard for Justin.
It doesn't.
He's got a whole state there to go look through.
Yeah.
So if you find, there you see Lady Lake.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so Spanish Springs is very close to that. Okay, and then if you zoom in a little bit, you'll see that there is a Lake Miona and there's a Lake Sumter Landing, and that's where the other one is, and it's more of a central zone. So come south. And then there is Brownwood. Yep, then there's Brownwood. If you go further south, Brownwood is right by 44. If you can zoom in and find 44, you'll see where Brownwood is. Okay, it's to the left of Lake Deaton. Keep going to the left. And there it is, okay. Right there.
So how long would it take to drive from Brownwood to Spanish Springs?
If I was in a golf cart, it would take me about 45 minutes. If I was in a car, it takes me about 20 to 30 minutes, depending upon the traffic. Yeah, so it's not that far.
Yeah, but that's a.
And then we also have Edna's on the Green. So if you go south of 44, if you follow Morse Boulevard down, and it turns into Marsh Bend, it's down there in Fenney.
Oh, that's
really
new.
Fun to go to, yeah, because they have like a giant pavilion, and then there's food trucks, and they kind of switch out the food trucks every now and then. They'll bring a different one in every now and then, and they have afternoon entertainment, so it's kind of cool. You bring your own chairs. Everybody kind of sits around and listens to the music, and has a late lunch or early dinner. It's kind of fun.
You just have to make sure you have a really good golf cart if you're going to be driving 30, 40 miles on it every day.
Well, yeah, and most of the golf carts I would highly recommend gas. Now, if you're one of those that wants to do the distance. Now, if you're not going to do the distance, like I have an electric cart, I really don't do long distances in my golf cart. I probably go to the square. I go to Brownwood or go to Lake Sumter Landing, and I live in LaBelle North. So it's just north of 44, but just south of 466A. So I can get to Lake Sumter Landing and Brownwood in my electric cart with no problem at all.
Can I ask
But if I wanted to do a lot, like we're talking about getting a gas one because we can go even greater distances. Don't know if I'm going to do that, but you never know.
Well, Debbie, I've got to ask, so when did you actually move in here?
We moved to the villages in 2006.
How many people do you think were in the villages then versus, and I know one of your questions will be how many homes is in there now, which it's growing all the time, but how many homes were in there in 2006 versus now? If you happen to know that.
I'm pretty sure it has doubled in size.
And right now, you said a little earlier when we were chatting that there's about 165,000 homes.
I think that. Yep.
Wow.
And continuing to grow. I think that's the major appeal, right? Is like the villages just offered everything.
Yeah, and then some people think that it's too big, but people tend to do things in their area. So you're not going to get the people that live way south that are going to come up and use the amenities in the way northern region of the villages very often, because it's the nature of the beast. People generally do things close to where they live,
So I would
if
I
that makes sense.
so I would assume that it's very important too when you're looking at the villages, kind of deciding what area of the villages you want to be in, not just the villages, but taking that
When I
tour.
talk with buyers, one of the questions I always ask them is, what do you like to do? I want to know, what do you like to do for fun? Are you a golfer? Are you a bowler? Do you like to do crafts? Are you a swimmer? Or are you more like you don't like to do a whole lot? You really enjoy your house and you just want peace and quiet and clean. And so I want to know all that, because that's going to help me help you find the best area.
That's
I
why
know it
getting
sounds
that's
funny,
why
but
getting
there's
a
all
really
kinds of
good
people out
agent that
there.
knows the villages, because it is so big, is important, because you know the whole area and all the different communities.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. And then all right, let's hop into the financial snapshot. This is everyone. This is like the main focus. It seems like everyone really wants to know this. So, if we could go over, and I know there's not an HOA, but there's an amenity fee, or what would you call it? I'm sorry.
It's an amenity
Amenity
fee.
fee. Okay.
So we don't have an HOA here in the villages. Um, we are operated on what's called a CDD, and we call it the VCDD because it's the Villages Community Development Districts. That is our government. So we collect what's called an amenity fee, and you'll find that it's collected off of what is called a utility bill. You get that once a month. On your utility bill are two different kinds of waters. You have potable water, you have recycled water, your sewer, your trash, and then your amenity fee all come on that bill. And depending upon the size of lot you have, depending upon how many people are going to live in your household, whether it's 1, 2, 3, like in our house, it's 3 because my mom lives with me. So we're probably going to use a little bit more potable water than the normal person. And I have a big yard. I have a corner lot, so I have a lot more grass to water. So I'm going to probably use a little bit more water than the average. So, and then the amenity fee is right now $164 a month. Now, what does that amenity fee do? So that amenity fee pays for the upkeep of the common areas. It also takes care of the rec centers, the pools, the activities that we have, the executive golf courses. So all that is paid through our amenity fee. So I hope that answers that, about the HOA, because I know a lot of people, that's one of the number one questions I get asked. Tell me about that HOA. We don't have an HOA because we are not owner governed. The homeowners don't govern the villages. We have what's called the Villages Community Development District. Each district has a elected official that represents us, that comes up with our budget, makes sure that our district is taken care of.
So just I'm
Pretty
assuming
simple.
that's per household, not per person in the household.
Correct.
Oh, that's
Correct.
awesome. That's super affordable.
Yes.
And every household is going to be different. I mean, I would say typically there's 2 people in the household. Every now and then there's 1 person in the household, but every now and then there's 3. We have a lot of family dynamics here. There's people that have adult children that have to live with them for obvious health reasons. Then there's people like me where my mom lives with me. I know people where their father lives with them. And so you have a lot of dynamics that make up the villages. But that keeps it nice.
It is a 55 plus. So do they have the
Yes.
80-20 rule where 20% can be under
It is
55?
80-20, where 80% of the people are over the age of 55. But the hard fast rule is that nobody can be under the age of 19.
Yes. Yeah.
So I can move into the villages.
Yes, you could.
You could.
I don't know if they'd accept your application though.
So in terms of home prices, what do you think the absolute low end and then the absolute high end is? And then what would you say the median is? Like what if I was going to come and purchase in the villages, what would be a good budget for me to have to find something comfortable?
I would say the median right now is between 250 and 350.
Okay.
It has really gone up a lot. The lower end would be the manufactured homes, and even those are going from anywhere from 150 to 200 now.
Wow.
Then there's patio villas, and those are going in the low 200s. Then you move up to the cottage style homes. And those range in a variety of sizes. I think the biggest one would probably be maybe 1,500 square feet. And those are in the high 200s and even low 300s. Then you have the designer homes, and those are going from the high 300s up into the mid 400 to 500s. And then you have your premier homes, and those can range anywhere from the low 600s up until over $1 million.
Yeah. So, and this is something that folks really ask, if you don't mind me segueing into this, but we can't sell new. Real estate agents with realtor licenses cannot sell new. And then they've got their own resale department too, even though it's minimal. How does that affect you, Debbie, as far as being a real estate agent?
It doesn't affect me at all. There are people that want to work with the villages, and that's fine. And then there's people that prefer not to work with the villages for a pre-owned home. New homes, like I said, we can't sell because you have to work for the developer. This particular developer does not co-broke with anybody. So we list homes in the villages, and right now we are just slightly over the villages. We have a few more houses on the market right now in the pre-owned division than the villages does. That tends to go up and down. So we're kind of neck and neck. That's how I say. It's a personal preference. A realtor, which is what I am, can sell you anything that you'll find on Realtor.com, Zillow, Trulio, and the millions of others websites that you'll find. The Villages only has one website, so you can only go to their website to see what pre-owned homes there are available through them. They are not realtors, they are sales agents. They are employed by the developer, so they are paid by the developer.
So if I could chime in too. So I'm just talking with a few people that have gone through the process. You know, one of the downfalls to maybe working with the villages is they are like 9 to 5. You know, they have a time. So it's like a lot of people were getting off work, and then they, you know, someone wanted additional information, and there was not really someone there to help them. But if you are looking at villages and you want the absolute most options available to you, how should someone work with someone that's part of that developer sales force and a realtor? Can you do that? I mean, what's the best way to tackle that in terms of someone finding something?
It is really good for, I think, anybody coming to buy a home in the villages. If you're in the pre-owned market, if you would have both a realtor and a sales agent, because then you are going to see everything that is available. Just know that when you work with the sales agent, they are going to try to sell you a new home, because that's where he gets more bang for his buck. the developer. He makes more money off of a new home than he does selling a pre-owned home. So it only stands to reason that those people are trained to push you towards the new homes. But if you definitely have an area that you want to live in, and if you inform that sales agent, listen, I don't want to live in the new section, I'm not interested in the new section, please show me what you have in the area that I'm interested in. Most of the time they will work with you. Every now and then you get one that doesn't, but on the whole, most of them will work with you. And I think they are very good people. I think the realtors here in the villages are good, and the sales agents in the villages are good. You're going to get good help both ways.
Very nice. And the other advantage of a realtor as well is you can speak to other options that are in the area that aren't the villages, because there's some other 55 plus just outside the gates. So there's that too.
Yeah, there are some beautiful areas just outside the villages. And sometimes what I find when I interview people and I work with them, sometimes the villages isn't a good fit. Sometimes a smaller community that is similar to the villages is a much better fit. And so I can sell those where a villages agent cannot. So I can take you into Stonecrest. I can take you into Del Webb. I can take you into Spruce Creek South or Legacy or Plantation. I can take you into any of those. All of those areas are lovely. It just depends on what you're looking for to fulfill your retirement dream.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
And they have to explore to figure that out.
Yeah.
Agreed, they do.
All right,
Plugging
so
explore.
okay, so I got maybe a curveball, hopefully not. But if you were gonna give someone just an estimated like monthly cost outside of your mortgage and your taxes on your property, because obviously that depends on your mortgage, what would that be like? What could people kind of expect in terms of how much it costs to live there?
I would say expect $1,000 a month.
Okay.
Utilities, your your amenities fee.
Your utility bill, which is going to include your amenity fee. Your electric, some areas have natural gas. Most people do not cut their grass. Most people hire somebody to do pest control. Most people hire somebody to trim the bushes and the trees when they need it. So all those go into that $1,000. And then your homeowner's insurance would be probably a little bit extra. Although here in Central Florida, homeowner's insurance is relatively inexpensive, I think. And here in these three counties especially, because we don't need hurricane insurance because we're not on the coast, so we don't get the windfall from the hurricanes. We just get the rain. And because of the way the villages was built, majority of the villages, I don't think there's any part of the villages that falls in the floodplains. So we're good on that. But I think an average per month would be $1,000.
Okay, cool.
So I'm going to throw a curveball too. If there was something that you find that is a negative, do you ever find a negative? Is it maybe just sometimes the size might overwhelm people, so that might be the only thing? Or
well, I can't think of anything negative. I have lived I've lived several places in the state of Florida. I also have children all over Florida. I have a son up in Jacksonville that we go to visit him. We have 3 in Tampa that we go to visit. The traffic, holy crap. I would never want to live anywhere else but the villages for one reason. If it was just one reason, it would be for the traffic. You don't have to deal with that here. It's very easy living here, and I like that. We lived in Dunedin, we've lived in Clearwater, we've lived in Safety Harbor, Kissimmee, Davenport, and then the villages, and Brooksville. So we've lived a lot of different places, and our favorite is the villages, hands down.
Yep, and it's funny because a lot of people say that and they want all their friends and relatives to live there too. Do you
Yeah.
get kind of trafficky though? Because we were talking about the town squares, how, when you first moved there in the summertime, most of the snowbirds had gone, and you could, what did you say? You could shoot a cannon down the street and not hit somebody. Yet
Yeah.
yesterday, and of course you told me why, but yesterday the town squares was very busy, and then there was a lot of
Yes.
wait time for the restaurants, even in the middle of the summer.
I really think that we are seeing more full-time residents and less part-time residents. You're always going to have those part-timers. But the other thing I find interesting about the villages, because I've been selling houses for a long time now, they come down to the villages, and we're only going to come in the wintertime. We're just going to come January, February, March. Okay, but then they get down here and they love it so much, and they develop friendships, and there's so much to do different than when they go home, that then the following year, well, maybe we'll come right after Christmas. The day after Christmas we'll come, and we'll probably stay till April or May. And then maybe in 2 years, what I'm finding is I get a phone call saying, we'd like to sell our house because we need a bigger house, because we're not going to live up north anymore. We're just going to live down here.
Yeah, I hear that a lot too.
Yeah.
One amenity that we've missed, and I'm sorry, I'm kind of jumping all over the place. I'm
No,
gonna let you
take the
control
ship.
this. One amenity we missed was the polo field. I had a meetup where we
Oh,
took
yeah.
a bunch of people to watch a polo match.
What a segue.
Well, yeah, in addition to the polo fields are used for so many different things, not just the polo matches. Every now and then they'll have a drive-in movie there, which is cool. You can go in your golf cart.
That sounds fun.
They have they have Golf Fest there every year. And then they have the Christmas parade there, which is kind of fun. So they do different things all through the year to utilize the polo fields for something other than polo.
That's cool.
It was
Well,
fun.
let's take a look at some amenities. That was a perfect segue.
Oh, good. I thought you were teasing me.
No.
Our amenities are absolutely fabulous. You can get to anything by golf cart. We have wonderful recreation centers where you can play things like pickleball, volleyball. We have sports pools. We have crafts. We have thousands of card games, dominoes, anything you could imagine that you would want to do is in those recreation centers, which makes it so unique, better than any other place on the planet, I think. There's even a class where you go and you do drumming. That's fun. And it provides some exercise too. All the while you're meeting new people and developing new friendships along the way, and then from that you branch out and you try different things and you do different things. So as far as that goes, the amenities are wonderful. The executive courses are so different than any other executive course that you would play outside of the villages, because generally people feel that those golf courses are easy. I don't want to play on an executive course because that's too easy. Well, they're really not. There's a variety, and they're scored from 1 to 4, 1 being the easiest, 4 being the most difficult. You can pick up a brochure at any one of the golf courses, the country clubs, and it'll show you what the breakdown is of all the executive courses. And then you can choose if you want to play an easy one or if you would like to play a more challenging one. And I love that, because where else can you do that? Nowhere. We also have a variety of types of pools that we have here. We have pools that are just for adults. You have to be 33 years of age or older to go to those pools. Let's face it, when you get to be our age, my age, you don't need to be walking around with people in those little bikinis anymore. So I'm good with that. But every now and then you have your grandchildren that come and visit you, and so you want to take them to a pool. So we have what's called a family pool. And those are usually connected to what they call the neighborhood recreation centers. And then
Can
we
I
have
ask you a
this,
quick question, Debbie? And I
Yeah.
don't mean to interrupt you. Somebody said that your fitness centers, there's actually fees to it. And is there any fees to the pools and stuff? or that's just open? And then the golf,
There's
is the
no
golf
fees
free?
for the pools. No fees for the pools at all. The only thing you're gonna pay a fee for is at the ones that have the gyms. And those are the regional recreation centers, and there's a few of those that have gyms and you buy a gym membership. It's not very expensive though. And then you might pay a few fees for like your craft supplies and anything where you have to have supplies to participate. You would pay for that. You do pay a trail fee to drive your golf cart on the executive golf courses. And other than that, everything is included in your amenity fee.
Beautiful. And so when the
Yeah.
footage that we're looking at now, we didn't get to see any amenities inside any amenity centers or anything, but we went to all three town squares. So I think which one is this,
Yeah,
Brown?
the town squares are wonderful. They each have a different flair, plenty of walking space. You can go dancing every night of the week, which is wonderful. Or if you like to people watch, which is what my husband and I like to do, there's plenty of chairs to sit in around the square, and you can people watch till your heart is content. They have a variety of type of music at each three squares. You can check the local newspaper, our Daily Sun, which incidentally is the most read newspaper on the planet because it has everything that we as villagers need to know about the villages.
Yeah, all the events and all that stuff. So one of the things that Debbie said, with the reason the square was so busy last night, because my mother and some friends and I went, was because it had a popular line dancing guy.
Scooter the DJ is the most popular DJ on the planet. He will get you up out of your chair for sure.
Oh yeah, yeah, it was full, and everybody trying to do the line dances.
Uh-huh.
Very
He
nice.
is fun.
Yeah, beautiful. Well, so a lot of times people want to know, can you build a fence for pets?
There are certain areas of the villages where there are fenced in yards. They are, let's see, there's one that is between 466 and 468-6A, small area. There's another area that is south of 466A in the Fruitland Park area of the villages. And then down in Fenny and DeSoto and in the newer areas, they built quite a few of them. We have what are called courtyard villas. Those are fenced in.
And those
So
are
you have-
those are little villas or little homes with courtyards. And are they connected or attached to other houses?
The houses are not connected. They're connected by a fence. So that's why they're considered a courtyard villa. There is a fence. So you have a house and then you have a courtyard and a house. So you only have one access into your section of the courtyard and your neighbor has his entrance. And all the courtyard villas, they range from, let's see, the smallest one would probably be 1,200 square feet and the largest probably 1,800 square feet in the courtyard villas.
So there are places with fences for your furry friends. Very nice.
There are. And we have dog parks too. Pretty much all the neighborhoods, there's dog parks everywhere throughout the villages. Some are bigger than others, but you can take your dog via golf cart, and the dogs love to go in the golf cart.
I was going to say they probably can even go to a vet on the golf cart, which will make it a lot easier to take getting in your car.
They have, we have several vets that, yes, you can get there by golf cart.
Unless you have a Great Dane.
No, you probably
No,
still
you'll
can.
see Great Danes on golf carts too.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
I was going to say, yeah.
It's funny. Come up here in the evenings, drive down the streets, and you'll see all kinds of people taking their dogs for golf cart rides. It's the thing you do in the evening. You take your dog for a golf cart ride.
With
That's
your
awesome.
cocktail, I understand.
They're pretty strict about the drinking and driving up here, so I wouldn't advise going with a
Oh,
cocktail.
even on the
and
golf
stuff.
carts. That's good to know.
Yeah. That you can get a DUI on your golf cart.
Ah,
Um,
okay. I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah, the same rules
Say I'm
apply
drinking
to
on
the
the
golf
golf cart,
carts as
boys.
they do to the cars.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jeez, this is live. Oh my gosh. Beautiful. Well, I guess another question probably is the lifestyle tours, the lifestyle visits.
Oh, the lifestyle visits are an awesome way to come in and find out if the villages is for you or not. After you do a lifestyle visit, I would highly recommend you come down and rent for a month. There's a lot of houses that you can rent rather inexpensively for one whole month and get a feel for the villages. The lifestyle program, you would have to go through the villages, thevillages.com, look for lifestyle, click on lifestyle, and all of the information is there. But that is a great way to come and see if it's your cup of tea or not. But after you do the 3 or 4 day visit, then come for a month and stay in a house for a month and really get the feel of it. You'll get a renter's ID. You'll be able to do everything that a resident does, and then you'll get a true feel for what it really is. If you're planning on doing this, though, in season, in the high season, you want to schedule your stay at least a year in advance.
Wow. Okay.
And Debbie, if somebody wanted to connect with us, could we find them a short-term rental? Is it listed in the MLS?
Short-term rentals are primarily not listed in the MLS, but there's so many companies that do it. The biggest one is the VRBO. That's the website that most of them use, to promote their seasonal rentals.
Gotcha.
And this is going to be people like, Remax and Keller Williams, and then all the personal owners that do it just on the side. Yeah, VRBO is the best website to use.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that.
We need to buy a house in the villages and
Rent it.
rent it.
I know a realtor you can use.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, so what other questions do you see when people are working with you that are common questions being asked?
The other common question I get is, what about the bond? They all say, I don't want to pay a bond. Well, the bonds were made so that everybody pays a little bit of them. So they're 30-year bonds, and so it is paid on your tax bill. And on the top of your tax bill are your county taxes, and if there's a city tax, it's on there too. And then on the bottom portion of your bill are what's called assessments. So in the villages, we have our own fire department, so we pay a fire tax, or a fire assessment, I should say. And then you pay what's called a maintenance fee. The maintenance fee is put in place so that we as residents will never be assessed whenever they have to replace or repair any part of the infrastructure. Then you may have a bond payment. If there's a bond balance, you'll have a bond payment, and that can fluctuate. I've seen bond payments as low as $500 a year. I've seen them as high as $1,800 a year. So it depends on the location, how much the bond is, what the current balance is, and how many years you are into that payment schedule. So in other words, the older houses are going to have the lower or paid off bonds, and the newer houses are going to have the higher bonds with higher payments. Those are the two most asked questions I get.
Yes, and sometimes it gets confusing for people, so it's very important to get an agent that knows what they're doing in the villages so it can be explained, because some people pay off their bonds and then you don't have that extra expense. But it is what it is, and a buyer can do their math and they decide if they can afford it or not.
Yes, and I always tell them, if you think you're going to live in that house for about 10 years, then it behooves you to pay the bond off, because you'll save money on the interest and the admin fee. If there's a chance that you're only going to live in that house for a couple years because you're not sure of the size or the location, then hold off. Because you can pay that bond off anytime you want to. You don't have to pay it off at all, because it was made so that you could pass the bond balance from one owner to the next owner.
Very, very, very interesting and informative, Debbie. Thank you very much. Have a great weekend.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Come see us.
Thank you, Debbie. That was awesome.
Oh, good.
It wasn't live, was it?